Close your eyes and feel that quiet pressure, that invisible hand gently pinning you to the bed. You've felt it your entire life. But tonight, something feels different. It's gravity. They say the force that keeps you grounded, that draws oceans toward the moon, that locks planets in their orbits. But what if that's not the full story? What if this familiar force, the one holding you now, is hiding something? What if gravity is a beautiful lie? You've known this force since birth. Before language, before memory, gravity taught you which way was down. It helped you rise, crawl, stand, walk. You trust it without question. But wait. What if that trust is built on illusion? Not fantasy, not fiction, but something stranger than both. Imagine this. You're not being pulled down at all. You're simply falling through space that's bent like a soft sheet under stars. The floor isn't holding you up. It's curving beneath you. And that curve, that shape of reality, is what you've called gravity your entire life. This is not some forgotten theory. This is Einstein, a man with wild hair and quiet eyes, who looked at the same falling apple and saw not a force, but a story about space itself. A young patent clerk in Switzerland, whispering a question no one had dared ask. What if gravity isn't a force, but a path? Picture a trampoline stretched across the universe. A perfect fabric, silent and unseen. Now place a heavy star on it. Feel the dip, the valley. You're not pulled toward it. You're rolling down the curve. Suddenly, everything you thought you knew tilts. Now. Stop. Take a breath. Feel how deeply this touches your own life. This isn't abstract science. It's your story. That subtle pressure on your back right now, that's you moving along the curved shape of space itself. Your body is part of the geometry. Your breath follows its rhythm. Even your aging, yes. The ticking of your cells is distorted by this invisible structure. Right now, your head is aging faster than your feet. The difference? Minuscule, but real, and it's happening to you in this moment. You don't need a telescope to feel the strange elegance of reality. You just need to lie still and let it in. Even the GPS in your phone believes in this weirdness, without correcting. For Einstein's truth, you'd get lost within hours, because time itself bends near mass. And mass creates gravity. Or does it? Because just when we thought we understood this illusion, new mysteries whispered from the dark. Why does gravity always attract? Why can't we block it? And why does the universe seem to be expanding faster and faster, like something unseen is pushing everything apart? Your body knows gravity intimately. Every breath you take, every beat of your heart, every movement of your limbs works in partnership with this mysterious pull. When you were born, gravity was your first teacher, showing you which way was down, helping you learn to crawl, to stand, to walk. It has been your constant companion through every moment of your life, so familiar that you rarely notice its presence until you stumble, until you drop something, until you watch a leaf spiral gracefully toward the earth. But imagine for a moment that this force you know so well is not what it seems. Imagine that what you experience as gravity is actually something far more subtle and profound, not a force pulling you down, but the very shape of reality itself, curved and warped in ways that create the sensation of falling, even when you are perfectly still. This is not science fiction or fantasy. This is the radical possibility that emerged from the mind of a young patent clerk in Switzerland over a century ago. A possibility that has been tested and confirmed by countless experiments, yet remains so counterintuitive that even physicists sometimes struggle to fully embrace its implications. Albert Einstein, in his moments of deepest insight, realized that gravity might not be a force at all, but rather the curvature of space and time itself. Picture yourself lying on a vast, invisible trampoline that stretches through all of space. Now imagine that massive objects, planets, stars, galaxies, are like heavy bowling balls placed on this cosmic trampoline, creating dips and valleys in the fabric. What you experience as gravity is actually you, your bed, your entire planet, following the natural curves in this invisible landscape. But even this metaphor, beautiful as it is, might not go far enough. What if the very idea of space and time as fundamental aspects of reality is itself an illusion? What if gravity, space, and time are all emergent phenomena patterns that arise from something even more basic, something we can barely begin to? Imagine, tonight, as you rest here in the darkness, you are participating in one of the universe's deepest mysteries. The sensation of weight you feel, the pull that keeps you anchored to your bed, might be nothing more than the way a deeper reality expresses itself through the limited perceptions of your human experience. You are not being pulled down by a force called gravity. You are moving through curved spacetime, following the most natural path available to you, like a river following the contours of the landscape. Consider how strange this really is. Every moment of your life, you have been moving through time at the speed of 1 second per second, traveling into the future at a rate that seems perfectly normal to you. But Einstein showed us that this journey through time is intimately connected to your journey through space, and that massive objects can actually slow down your passage through time. Right now, as you lie here, your head being slightly farther from the Earth's center than your feet is aging just a tiny bit faster than your toes. The difference is unimaginably small, but it is real, measurable, and points to the profound strangeness of the reality in which you exist. This is not merely an abstract curiosity for physicists to contemplate in their laboratories. The GPS system in your phone must account for the fact that satellites orbiting high above the Earth experience time differently than you do on the surface. Without corrections for these relativistic effects, your navigation system would be off by miles within hours. The illusion of gravity, if illusion it is so convincing and so consistent that we can build our most sophisticated technologies around its mathematical description. Yet questions remain, whispers of deeper mysteries that keep physicists awake at night, just as they might keep you wondering as you drift toward sleep. If gravity is truly just the curvature of spacetime, why does it seem to behave so differently from the other fundamental forces of nature? Why can we shield ourselves from electromagnetic radiation, from the strong and weak nuclear forces, but never from gravity? Why does gravity always attract, never repel? And then there are the puzzles that emerged as we learned more about the universe itself. When astronomers looked out at the cosmos, they discovered that galaxies are moving away from each other faster than Einstein's equations predict they should, as if driven by some dark energy that makes up most of the universe, but remains completely invisible to our instruments. They found that galaxies rotate faster than they should, held together by dark matter that we cannot see, cannot touch, cannot directly detect. Perhaps these mysteries point to something profound about the nature of gravity itself. Perhaps what we call gravity emerges from processes happening at scales so small or so large that we cannot perceive them directly. Some physicists now wonder if gravity might arise from quantum entanglement, the mysterious connection between particles that Einstein called spooky action at a distance. Others propose that gravity might be a consequence of the way information is stored and processed at the boundaries of black holes, or that it emerges from the collective behavior of countless quantum interactions happening at the smallest scales of reality. These are not merely academic questions. They touch on the deepest nature of your existence. If gravity is indeed an illusion, then your entire experience of being a physical being moving through space and time might be something like a hologram, a three-dimensional projection arising from information encoded on a two-dimensional surface, like the way a holographic image appears to have depth, even though it exists only on a flat piece of film. But even if gravity is an illusion, it is an illusion with profound consequences. It shapes the trajectory of every atom in your body, guides the circulation of your blood, influences the rhythm of your breathing. It determines the structure of your bones, the way your muscles have developed, the manner in which your brain has learned to navigate three-dimensional space. You are in every sense a child of gravity's influence, shaped by its effects, even if its fundamental nature remains mysterious. As you settle deeper into rest, let yourself feel the comfort of not needing to solve these mysteries tonight. The questions themselves are beautiful. They remind you that you live in a universe far stranger and more wonderful than everyday experience suggests. Whether gravity is a force, a curvature of space-time, or something even more subtle and surprising, it continues to hold you gently as you transition from waking consciousness toward the mystery of sleep. Your body knows how to rest within gravity's embrace without understanding its deepest secrets. Your heart beats steadily, your lungs expand and contract in their ancient rhythm. Your mind begins to quiet as it prepares for the journey into dreams. In this moment, the question of whether gravity is real or illusory becomes less important than the simple fact that you are here, held safely in whatever reality you inhabit, ready to let consciousness fade into the gentle darkness of sleep. And perhaps this is the most beautiful aspect of the mystery, that you can be profoundly at home in a universe whose deepest workings remain utterly mysterious, whose most familiar phenomena might be elaborate illusions, whose ultimate nature continues to surprise and delight those who study it most carefully. The illusion, if illusion it is, has created a world where rest is possible, where dreams can unfold, where questions can be asked and wondered about in the quiet hours of the night, in the soft transition between waking and sleeping. Your mind becomes like a soap bubble floating on warm airlight, translucent, responding to invisible currents you cannot see but somehow feel. This is the perfect state to understand what Einstein discovered about the nature of space itself, that it is not the rigid, unchanging stage upon which the drama of physics unfolds, but rather a living, breathing participant in every cosmic dance. Imagine that the space around you is not empty at all, but filled with something more subtle than air, more fundamental than matter of fabric that can be stretched and compressed, twisted and curved. This fabric has no color, no texture you could touch with your fingers, yet it responds to the presence of mass and energy, like a cosmic web, trembling when touched by dewdrops of starlight. Right now, as you rest in your bed, you are creating tiny ripples in this invisible fabric simply by existing. Your body, with its modest mass, creates the smallest possible curvature in space-time, so gentle that it would take the most sensitive instruments to detect it. But that curvature is real as the ripples that spread across a still pond. When a stone breaks its surface, the earth beneath you creates much larger curves in this fabric, valleys and slopes that guide every object in its vicinity along specific paths. What you experience as falling is really just matter following the natural geometry of curved space, like a marble rolling along the contours of a curved surface. There is no mysterious force reaching out across empty space to pull objects together. There is only the elegant mathematics of curved geometry, expressing itself through the motion of every particle in the universe. But this is where the story becomes even more beautiful and strange. Time itself participates in this cosmic choreography. The same curvature that guides the path of a falling apple also affects the flow of time itself. Clocks run more slowly in stronger gravitational fields, not because the mechanisms of the clocks are affected, but because time itself flows differently in curved SPA, CETIM, E. As you lie here, breathing slowly and steadily, you are experiencing time at a slightly different rate than someone standing up. Your heart, closer to the Earth's center, beats to a rhythm that is imperceptibly slower than it would if you were floating in the emptiness between stars. The blood flowing through Your veins moves through space and time that is curved by the mass of the planet beneath you. Every biological process in your body, every chemical reaction, every neural impulse unfolds within this gently curved four-dimensional landscape. This means that your experience of the present moment is not universal. The now you inhabit is subtly different from the now experienced by someone at a different altitude, in a different gravitational field, moving at a different velocity relative to you. The present moment, which feels so immediate and absolute, is actually local and personal, your own private slice of the larger four-dimensional tapestry of spacetime. Yet somehow, despite these subtle differences in the flow of time, consciousness continues to feel unified and coherent. Your brain processes information, forms memories, dreams, without being disrupted by the gentle curvature of the spacetime in which it operates. There is something almost magical about the way biological systems maintain their integrity and coherence while participating in the cosmic dance of curved spacetime. Consider how this changes your understanding of movement itself. When you walked to your bed tonight, you thought you were moving through empty space from one location to another. But according to Einstein's vision, you are actually following a path through four-dimensional spacetime, guided by the curvature created by the Earth's mass. Your journey was not a straight line through space, but a curved trajectory through the unified fabric of space and time that every step you took, every gesture you made, every breath you drew was part of a vast geometric symphony playing out across the curved landscape of spacetime. You were not fighting against gravity to hold yourself upright. You were dancing with the curvature of reality itself, finding your balance within the natural flow of four-dimensional geometry. This perspective reveals something profound about the relationship between consciousness and the physical world. Your thoughts, your emotions, your dreams all arise within a brain that exists in curved spacetime. The neural networks that generate your experience of being alive are shaped by the same geometry that guides the motion of planets and stars. In some sense, your consciousness is a local intensification of the universe's capacity for self-organization within the curved landscape of spacetime. But here's where the mystery deepens into something even more beautiful. Recent advances in physics suggest that even Einstein's revolutionary picture might not be the end of the story. Some theories propose that spacetime itself might be emergent, that space and time as we experience them arise from more fundamental processes operating at scales so small that they exist below the level of space and time as we understand them. Imagine that what you think of as the smooth, continuous fabric of spacetime is actually more like a woven cloth made up of discrete, indivisible threads that create the illusion of continuity when viewed from a distance. At the smallest scales, space and time might be quantized, existing in tiny, indivisible units that combine to create the flowing continuity of the larger world you experience. In this view, the curved spacetime through which you move might be like a holographic projection, a three-dimensional image that emerges from information stored on a two-dimensional surface. Your entire experience of existing in three-dimensional space, of moving through time, of being affected by gravity, might be a kind of cosmic illusion generated by processes happening at the boundaries of reality itself. Yet even if spacetime is emergent, even if your three-dimensional existence is somehow projected from a two-dimensional source, the experience remains real and meaningful. The curvature you navigate, the time through which you flow, the gravitational embrace that holds you to the earth, these may be emergent phenomena, but they create the stable, predictable reality within which life can flourish, love can bloom, and consciousness can contemplate its own mysterious existence. As your mind begins to soften toward sleep, you can sense something of this cosmic dance, even without understanding its mathematical details. There is a rhythm to existence, a pattern that connects your heartbeat to the rotation of the earth, your breathing to the expansion of the universe itself. You are not separate from the curved landscape of spacetime. You are one of its most beautiful and complex expressions. The thoughts forming in your mind as you drift towards sleep are themselves part of this vast geometric symphony. Each neural firing, each dream image, each moment of fading consciousness participates in the same fundamental reality that curves space around massive objects and slows the flow of time near gravitational sources. Your inner life and the cosmic dance of curved spacetime are intimately connected. Expressions of the same underlying principles, operating at vastly different scales, dot in this perspective. Sleep itself becomes a kind of return to the fundamental rhythms of spacetime. As consciousness fades, as the busy activity of waking thought settles into quieter patterns, you align more closely with the natural geometry of the reality in which you exist. Dreams, when they come, might be your mind's way of exploring the curved pathways of possibility that branch out from each moment of experience, the boundary between your inner world and the curved spacetime that contains it becomes increasingly fluid as you approach sleep. The sense of being a separate observer of an external reality gives way to a more intimate participation in the cosmic dance itself. You are not merely moving through curved spacetime. In some profound sense, you are curved spacetime locally, organized into the beautiful, temporary pattern that constitutes your individual existence. And perhaps this is the most comforting realization of all, that whether spacetime is fundamental or emergent, whether gravity is a force or a geometric illusion, you belong here. You are not an accident or an intrusion in this curved cosmic landscape. You are one of its natural expressions, as integral to the whole as the curves and valleys that guide the motion of planets and stars. The mathematics may be complex. The physics may challenge every intuitive notion of how reality should work. But the ultimate message is simple and reassuring. You are at home in this universe, woven into its very fabric, participating in its deepest patterns even as you drift peacefully toward the mystery of sleep. Picture yourself in an elevator with no windows, no way to sense the outside world, just you, suspended in a small chamber between floors. Now imagine that this elevator begins to fall freely, plummeting downward through the building's shaft. But here's the strange thing. Inside your windowless chamber, you would feel completely weightless. You would float in the middle of the space, neither pulled toward the floor nor pressed against the ceiling. Every object in the elevator would hover around you as if gravity had simply been switched off. This is Einstein's elevator, one of the most elegant thought experiments ever conceived, and a doorway into understanding why gravity might be the universe's most convincing illusion. In that falling elevator, you would have no way to tell whether you were accelerating downward under the influence of gravity or floating in the perfect emptiness of deep space, far from any gravitational source. The two experiences would be completely identical. Now imagine the opposite scenario. You're in the same windowless elevator, but this time it's being pulled upward by a powerful cable, accelerating toward the top of an infinitely tall building. You would feel pressed against the floor with exactly the same sensation you experience right now as you lie in bed, held down by Earth's gravity. Inside that accelerating elevator, objects would fall toward the floor. Water would pour downward from a bottle. A ball would arc through the air, just as it does on Earth's surface. Einstein realized that there is no experiment you could perform inside that windowless chamber that would tell you whether you're sitting motionless in Earth's gravitational field or accelerating upward through empty space. The force you feel pushing you against the floor would be indistinguishable in either case. This is the principle of equivalence, the recognition that gravitational effects and the effects of acceleration are fundamentally the same phenomenon. But what does this mean for your understanding of gravity? If the force you attribute to gravity can be perfectly mimicked by simple acceleration, then perhaps gravity as a force doesn't exist at all. Perhaps what you experience as gravitational attraction is really just the geometry of space-time guiding you along the straightest possible path through a curved four-dimensional landscape. Think about it this way. When you're lying in bed, right now, you feel the sensation of weight, of being pressed downward. But according to Einstein's insight, you are not actually being pulled down by any force. Instead, you are trying to follow a straight line through space-time, the most natural path for any object to take. However, the presence of Earth's mass has curved the space-time around you so dramatically that what feels like a straight path to you actually curves through the fourth dimension in a way that creates the sensation of acceleration, the floor of Avor. Your room is not holding you up against the pull of gravity. It is preventing you from following your natural path through curved spacetime. In Einstein's view, you are not falling toward the Earth. The Earth is accelerating upward toward you, pushing against your natural motion through the curved geometry of spacetime. This is such a radical reframing of reality that even physicists sometimes struggle to internalize its implications. Every sensation of weight, every experience of falling, every orbit of every planet around every star, all of these familiar phenomena are actually the result of matter following the straightest possible paths through a curved four-dimensional geometry that our three-dimensional minds can barely visualize. Your body has evolved to navigate this curved spacetime with remarkable precision. Your inner ear contains organs that detect changes in acceleration, helping you maintain balance as you move through Earth's gravitational field. But according to Einstein's principle of equivalence, those same organs cannot distinguish between gravitational acceleration and mechanical acceleration. They respond to the geometry of spacetime itself, not to any mysterious force reaching out across space. This means that every biological system that has evolved to work with gravity, from the way trees grow upward toward the sun to the way your blood circulates through your body, has actually evolved to work with the curvature of spacetime. Life itself has learned to thrive within the geometric constraints of a four-dimensional reality that curves and flows around massive objects, like planets and stars. Consider how this changes your relationship to the ground beneath you. The Earth is not pulling you down. It is preventing you from following your natural path through curved spacetime. When you drop an object, it is not falling toward the Earth. It is following the straightest possible line through a geometry that has been warped by Earth's mass. The object's path appears curved to you only because you are also constrained by that same geometric curvature. In the elevator thought experiment, when you feel weightless during free fall, you are finally experiencing motion through spacetime, unconstrained by any external interference. You and everything around you are following parallel paths through curved spacetime, all accelerating together through the four-dimensional landscape. This is as close as you can come to experiencing the true geometry of reality directly. But here's where the mystery becomes even more profound. If gravity is really just geometry, if spacetime is really curved by mass and energy, then what is spacetime itself? Einstein's equations describe how matter curves spacetime and how that curvature affects the motion of other matter, but they don't explain what spacetime is made of, where it comes from, or why it has the particular mathematical properties that make Einstein's description so remarkably accurate. Some physicists now propose that spacetime itself might be emergent, that it arises from more fundamental processes operating at scales far smaller than atoms, far below the level where our current concepts of space and time have any meaning. In this view, the elevator thought experiment reveals not just the nature of gravity, but the approximate character of reality itself. Just as the weightlessness in Einstein's elevator creates an accurate illusion of being in empty space, our entire experience of existing in three-dimensional space and one-dimensional time might be an accurate illusion generated by processes. we don't yet understand. Yet the illusion, if illusion it is, has profound implications for consciousness. Your brain has evolved to create a coherent sense of self and world within the curved geometry of spacetime. Your neural networks process information, form memories, and generate experiences in ways that are perfectly adapted to existence within Einstein's four-dimensional universe. Even if that universe is itself emergent, even if spacetime is a kind of collective hallucination generated by more fundamental processes, your consciousness has found a way to flourish within its geometric constraints. As you settle toward sleep, you can almost sense this dance between your awareness and the curved spacetime that contains it. Each breath you take, each thought that forms and dissolves, each gradual dimming of conscious attention participates in the same geometric principles that guide the motion of planets and the expansion of the universe itself. You are not separate. From the elevator of spacetime, you are one of its most remarkable passengers, capable of contemplating the nature of the journey even as you participate in it. The transition toward sleep becomes, in this context, a kind of return to the natural flow of spacetime itself. As the active, problem-solving aspects of consciousness quiet down, as the boundary between self and world becomes more fluid, you align more closely with the fundamental rhythms and patterns of the curved reality in which you exist. Dreams, when they come, might be consciousness exploring the curved pathways of possibility that branch out from each moment, following the geometry of imagination through landscapes that parallel the curved spacetime of the physical world. In Einstein's elevator, falling freely through space, you would eventually lose consciousness as you drift toward sleep, just as you do now in your bed. But the principle of equivalence suggests that these two experiences, sleeping in Earth's gravity and sleeping in free fall, would be fundamentally identical. Consciousness fades according to the same biological rhythms. Dreams unfold through the same neural pathways. Rest restores the same psychological resources. This is perhaps the most comforting aspect of the elevator thought experiment. It reveals that the experience of being human, of being conscious, of needing rest and restoration, transcends the particular gravitational environment in which it occurs. Whether gravity is a force or an illusion, whether spacetime is fundamental or emergent, the capacity for awareness, for wonder, for peaceful sleep remains constant. You are riding in Einstein's elevator right now, following your path through the curved four-dimensional landscape of spacetime, held gently in the geometric embrace of a universe that may be far stranger and more beautiful than everyday experience suggests. In the deep silence of night, when the world seems perfectly still and quiet, something extraordinary is happening all around you that your senses cannot detect. Space itself is breathing, expanding, and contracting in rhythms so subtle that it took humanity until 2015 to finally hear these cosmic whispers. They are gravitational waves, ripples in the fabric of spacetime itself, carrying messages from the most violent events in the universe. Black holes colliding, neutron stars merging, the very structure of reality trembling with each cosmic catastrophe. Right now, as you rest in the comfort of your bed, these waves are passing through your body at the speed of light. They stretch and compress the space between your atoms by amounts smaller than 1,000th the width of a proton. Your entire body, your room, your house, the earth itself oscillates gently as these ripples pass through the geometry of space, itself flexing like a vast, invisible membrane responding to disturbances from across the cosmos. This is perhaps the most beautiful confirmation that gravity is indeed related to the geometry of space and time. If gravity were simply a force, like electromagnetism or nuclear forces, it could not create waves in the fabric of reality itself. But because gravity is the curvature of spacetime, violent gravitational events can send ripples propagating outward at light speed, carrying information about cosmic events that happened millions or billions of years ago. Imagine two black holes, each containing the mass of dozens of suns, orbiting each other in an ever-tightening spiral. As they circle faster and faster, approaching the speed of light, they churn the spacetime around them like cosmic whirlpools, generating waves that radiate outward in all directions. When these titans finally merge in a collision that releases more energy in gravitational waves than all the stars in the observable universe produce in light, the ripples begin their journey across space and time. For eons, these waves travel through the cosmos, preserving the memory of that distant collision in the oscillating geometry of space itself. They pass through galaxies and solar systems, through planets and moons, through the bodies of countless creatures, carrying their message with perfect fidelity across the vast emptiness between stars. And finally, after journeying for perhaps billions of years, they reach Earth and you. When gravitational waves pass through you, they temporarily change the distance between every part of your body. If you could somehow measure with perfect precision, you would find that as a wave passes, your head and feet move slightly closer together, then slightly farther apart, then closer again, oscillating with the frequency of the distant cosmic event that created the wave. The atoms in your heart, your lungs, your brain, all participate in this cosmic dance, their relative positions shifting in response to the geometry of spacetime itself. But you cannot feel this happening. The changes are far too small, the waves too gentle to disturb the biological processes that keep you alive. Evolution never needed to equip you with sensors capable of detecting gravitational waves. They have no survival value in the everyday world of avoiding predators and finding food. Yet they connect you directly to the most energetic events in the universe, making you a participant in cosmic stories that played out long before Earth existed. The detectors that finally allowed humans to hear these whispers from space are among the most sensitive instruments ever built. They use laser light to measure changes in distance between mirrors separated by several kilometers. Changes so small that they would be overwhelmed by the thermal vibrations of atoms if not for extraordinary efforts to isolate the measurements from every possible source of noise. These instruments can detect changes in length equivalent to 1/10,000th the width of a proton, a precision that borders on the impossible. When the first gravitational wave signal was detected, it told a story that unfolded over the final fraction of a second of a billion-year cosmic dance. Two black holes, each about 30 times the mass of the Sun, completed their final spiral and merged into a single, larger black hole. In that moment of collision, 3 solar masses worth of energy was converted entirely into gravitational waves, the fabric of spacetime itself carrying away the energy like ripples spreading across a cosmic pond. The signal was captured simultaneously by detectors separated by thousands of kilometers, confirming that this was indeed a message from the cosmos and not just terrestrial noise. In the data, scientists could read the story of the collision like a cosmic novel written in the language of curved spacetime. They could determine the masses of the original black holes, the distance to the merger, even the direction in space from which the waves arrived. But perhaps the most profound implication of gravitational wave detection is what it reveals about the nature of space and time themselves. These waves demonstrate that space-time is not merely a mathematical abstraction used by physicists to describe motion and gravity. It is a real, physical thing that can vibrate, that can carry energy, that can be directly detected and measured. Space and time have a texture, a substance, a capacity for dynamic behavior that makes them active participants in the cosmic drama, rather than merely passive stages upon which that drama unfolds. This understanding transforms your relationship to the space around you. The room in which you lie is not empty. It is filled with the invisible substance of space-time itself, a medium so subtle that you cannot see or touch it, yet so real that it can carry waves across billions of light years. Every cubic centimeter of space has structure, has properties, has the capacity to participate in them. gravitational interactions that shape the universe on the largest scales. As you breathe slowly and peacefully, you are breathing within this ocean of space-time. Each inhalation and exhalation occurs within a medium that connects you instantaneously to every other piece of matter in the universe. The gravitational field of your body, tiny though it is, contributes to the overall curvature of space-time in your vicinity. You are not separate from the cosmic web of gravitational interactions. You are one of its countless nodes, participating in the vast network of space-time curvature that extends from the quantum scale to the scale of galaxy clusters. The detection of gravitational waves also opens up entirely new ways of exploring the universe. Light can be absorbed, scattered, or blocked by intervening matter, but gravitational waves pass through everything virtually unchanged. They provide a clear window into cosmic events that would otherwise remain forever hidden from view. The collision of black holes, the mergers of neutron stars, possibly even the quantum fluctuations that occurred during the first moments after the Big Bang, all of these phenomena could potentially be studied through their gravitational wave signatures. Some physicists speculate that gravitational waves might carry information about the deepest levels of reality itself. If space-time is indeed emergent from more fundamental processes, then gravitational waves might preserve traces of those underlying phenomena, like fossils embedded in the geology of reality. By studying the most subtle properties of these cosmic ripples, we might eventually learn something about the true nature of space, time, and gravity that goes far beyond Einstein's already revolutionary insights. But even if we never fully understand the deepest nature of space-time, the simple fact that we can detect its oscillations represents a profound victory for human curiosity and ingenuity. The ability to sense gravitational waves extends our perception into entirely new realms of experience. We are no longer limited to studying the universe through electromagnetic radiation, light, radio waves, X-rays, gamma rays. We can now listen to the universe's gravitational voice, hearing the sounds of space-time itself as it responds to cosmic events of unimaginable violence and beauty. As you drift toward sleep, these gravitational waves continue their ancient journey through your resting body. Waves that began their journey when the universe was young, when the first stars were forming, when the cosmic web of galaxies was just beginning to take shape, are passing through you right now. You are connected through the medium of curved space-time to the entire history of the cosmos. Your dreams, when they come, unfold within this same vibrating medium. The neural activity that generates your dream experiences occurs within space-time. That is constantly oscillating in response to distant cosmic events. There is something almost magical about the idea that your most private, interior experiences, your thoughts, dreams, memories occur within the same cosmic medium that carries news of black hole collisions from across the observable universe. Perhaps consciousness itself has some deep connection to the fundamental properties of space-time. If space and time are not merely empty containers for matter and energy, but active, dynamic aspects of reality with their own intrinsic properties, then the patterns of neural activity that generate awareness might be intimately connected to the patterns of space-time curvature that generate gravitational effects. Consciousness and gravity might be different expressions of the same underlying geometric principles that govern the structure of reality. The whispers from the fabric of space continue as you settle deeper into rest. Each gravitational wave that passes through you carries information about events so distant in space and time that they seem like messages from entirely different universes. Yet they reach you here, in this quiet moment, in this peaceful room, connecting your individual existence to the grand narrative of cosmic evolution that has been unfolding for nearly 14 billion years. In the detection of gravitational waves, humanity achieved something that would have seemed impossible just a few decades ago. We learned to listen to the universe speaking in the language of geometry itself. And in that achievement, we discovered that the cosmos is far more musical, far more dynamic, far more alive than we had ever imagined. The fabric of space and time sings with the voices of cosmic events, and we have finally learned to hear that celestial symphony ... lying in your bed. You have a clear sense of which direction is up and which is down. Your body knows intuitively that your head is higher than your feet, that if you were to roll a ball across the floor, it would stay on the surface, that if you were to drop something, it would fall toward the ground. This orientation feels absolute, fundamental, as natural as breathing. But what if this most basic aspect of your spatial experience is actually a beautiful, persistent illusion? The directions you call up and down exist only because you happen to be resting on the surface of a massive sphere hurtling through space at tremendous speed. At this very moment, people on the opposite side of the earth are experiencing their own up and down, that point in exactly the opposite direction from yours. Their ceiling is above them, their floor is below them, just as yours are for you. Yet if you could somehow see through the earth, you would observe them hanging upside down in space, with their hair falling away from you and their feet pointing toward you. But they are not upside down any more than you are. There is no universal up or down in the cosmos, no absolute reference frame that determines which way is truly vertical. What you experience as the downward direction is simply the direction toward the center of the massive object on which you happen to be standing. And that center is not fixed in space. It moves along with Earth as the planet orbits the sun at 67,000 miles per hour, spirals through the galaxy at 514,000 miles per hour, and participates in the galaxy's own motion through the expanding universe at speeds that dwarf all earthly experience. Your sense of up and down is therefore completely local and temporary, tied to your current position relative to Earth's mass. If you could somehow be transported to the surface of the moon, your up and down would shift to point toward the moon's center instead. On a space station orbiting Earth, up and down would disappear entirely, replaced by the strange experience of perpetual free fall that astronauts describe as both disorienting and ultimately liberating. This reveals something profound about the nature of spatial orientation itself. The directions that feel most fundamental to your existence up, down, the pull you feel toward the floor, the effort required to lift your arm above your head, are all artifacts of living within the curved spacetime created by a planetary mass. They are no more fundamental to the universe than north and south are to a traveler who happens to be carrying a compass. But the illusion goes even deeper than this. Even the concept of down as the direction toward Earth's center assumes that there is such a thing as a center, that Earth is a discrete object with clear boundaries and a definite middle point. Yet when you examine this assumption closely, it begins to dissolve into something more fluid and mysterious. Earth is not really a solid object in the way we normally think of solid objects. It is a collection of atoms held together by electromagnetic forces, orbiting a common center of mass, all of it embedded within the curved spacetime created by the total gravitational effect of all those atoms working together. The center, toward which you feel pulled, is not a physical point, but a mathematical abstraction, the average location of all the mass that makes up the planet. Moreover, that center is constantly shifting. As the moon orbits Earth, both bodies actually orbit around their common center of mass, a point that lies about 1,700 kilometers below Earth's surface. Your up and down direction, therefore, wobbles slightly with the moon's 28-day cycle, though the changes are far too small for you to notice. The gravitational influence of the sun, the other planets, even the largest asteroids, all contribute tiny perturbations to the direction you experience as downward. Your body has evolved exquisite sensitivity to these gravitational cues, even though they are ultimately illusions of perspective. Your inner ear contains structures called otoliths, literally ear stones, that detect the direction of gravitational acceleration by sensing which way small calcium carbonate crystals settle within fluid-filled chambers. These biological accelerometers are so precise that they can detect tilts of less than 1 degree, helping you maintain balance as you move through Earth's gravitational field. But these same organs that give you such a clear sense of up and down would be completely confused in a different gravitational environment. Astronauts often experience motion sickness when they first reach orbit, because their otoliths are sending signals that make no sense in the context of weightless free fall. The biological systems that create your sense of spatial orientation are calibrated specifically for existence within Earth's particular gravitational field. This calibration extends far beyond your inner ear. Every aspect of your body's structure reflects adaptations to living in a specific gravitational environment. Your bones are dense enough to support your weight against Earth's pull, but not so dense that they waste energy on unnecessary mass. Your cardiovascular system has evolved to pump blood upward against gravity to supply your brain with oxygen. Your muscles have developed the precise strength needed to move efficiently within Earth's gravitational field. Even your brain's spatial processing systems are tuned to work within this particular gravitational context. The neural networks that help you navigate through three-dimensional space, that allow you to catch a falling object or pour water from a pitcher, have been shaped by millions of years of evolution within Earth's specific gravitational environment. Your intuitive understanding of how objects move through space is based entirely on experience with motion within curved space, etime. Despite this deep calibration to a specific gravitational environment, something remarkable happens when humans are placed in different conditions. Astronauts adapt to weightlessness, learning to navigate and work effectively in three-dimensional space without any consistent up or down. Their brains prove capable of recalibrating to an entirely different relationship with space and motion, suggesting that the sense of orientation is more flexible than it first appears. This adaptability hints at something profound about consciousness itself. Your awareness is not rigidly tied to any particular gravitational environment or spatial orientation. The same consciousness that feels perfectly natural, lying in bed with your head up and your feet down, would, given time, feel equally natural. Floating in the weightlessness of space, or walking on the surface of Mars, where up and down would point toward that planet's center instead of Earth's. But perhaps the most beautiful aspect of this illusion is how completely convincing it remains, even when you understand its true nature. Knowing that up and down are local, temporary, gravitationally determined directions does not make them feel any less real or important. The floor still feels solid beneath you. Gravity still provides a reliable framework for movement and rest. Your sense of spatial orientation continues to function perfectly within its local context. This suggests that consciousness has a remarkable capacity to create meaningful, coherent experiences within whatever reality it finds itself inhabiting, even when that reality is revealed to be far stranger than everyday experience suggests. Your sense of up and down may be an illusion, but it is an illusion that enables navigation, balance, comfort, and rest within the specific cosmic environment where your consciousness has evolved. As you settle deeper toward sleep, you can almost sense the relativity of your spatial orientation. The direction that feels like down to your resting body is actually pointing toward the center of a spinning sphere that is itself falling freely through curved space-time around a star that is itself orbiting through a galaxy that is itself moving through an expanding universe. Your up and down are temporary coordinates in a cosmic dance that has been unfolding for billions of years. Yet this recognition does not make your bed feel any less comfortable or secure. The illusion of stable spatial orientation continues to provide a framework within which consciousness can rest, dream, and restore itself. Your body settles naturally into the familiar relationship with Earth's gravitational field. Your muscles relax as they release the constant subtle effort of maintaining balance against gravity's pull. Your mind prepares for the journey into dreams where the normal rules of spatial orientation may dissolve entirely. In sleep, the illusion of up and down may fade as consciousness explores landscapes where different rules apply, where floating and flying feel as natural as walking, where the constraints of Earth's gravitational field are replaced by the more fluid physics of imagination. Yet even in dreams, some echo of gravitational experience often remains, suggesting how deeply the illusion of spatial orientation has shaped not just your body, but your mind's most fundamental patterns of experience. The gentle deception of up and down continues to hold you as you drift toward sleep, providing a stable framework within which consciousness can safely let go of its active monitoring of the external world. Tomorrow, you will wake with the same reliable sense of which way is down, the same intuitive understanding of how to move through space, the same comfortable relationship with Earth's gravitational embrace. The illusion will resume its perfect performance, making the strange cosmos feel like home. In the quiet moments before sleep, time seems to slow and thicken around you like honey poured on a winter morning. Minutes stretch into something more spacious. Thoughts arise and dissolve at their own gentle pace, and the urgent rhythms of daytime consciousness give way to something deeper and more flowing. This subjective experience of time's elasticity mirrors one of the most profound discoveries in physics, that time itself is not the fixed, universal constant it appears to be, but something far more fluid and mysterious. Right now, as you rest in your bed, you are moving through time at a rate that feels perfectly normal to you, 1 second per second, one heartbeat after another, thoughts following thoughts in their familiar sequence. But if you could step outside of time and observe your journey from a different perspective, you would discover that your passage through time is actually affected by your motion through space, your position in Earth's gravitational field, even the speed at which you happen to be moving relative to other objects in the universe. This is perhaps the most counterintuitive aspect of Einstein's revolution in understanding gravity and spacetime. Time and space are not separate, independent aspects of reality. They are woven together into a single four-dimensional fabric where changes in one inevitably affect the other. Your movement through space determines your rate of passage through time, and the curvature of spacetime around massive objects like Earth creates subtle variations in the flow of time itself. At this very moment, your head is aging slightly faster than your feet. The difference is unimaginably small, perhaps a few billionths of a second over the course of your entire lifetime, but it is real and measurable. Your head, being farther from Earth's center, experiences slightly weaker gravity than your feet, and time flows just a tiny bit faster in weaker gravitational fields. This effect has been confirmed by atomic clocks placed at different altitudes, clocks so precise that they can detect time differences of less than a nanosecond. But the strangeness goes even deeper. If you were to get up from your bed and walk around the room, you would be changing your rate of passage through time. Motion through space affects motion through time in ways that become noticeable only at very high speeds, but the effect is always present. The faster you move through space, the slower you move through time relative to someone who is at rest. At everyday speeds, these effects are far too small to notice, but they are woven into the very structure of reality. This means that your personal experience of time, the rhythm of your thoughts, the pace of your breathing, the rate at which your cells divide and age is not universal. It is your own private journey through the four-dimensional landscape of spacetime, a journey that would appear slightly different to an observer in a different gravitational field, or moving at a different velocity relative to you. Consider what this means for your understanding of the present moment, the now that you experience as you lie here, the immediate moment of consciousness Reading these words and contemplating these ideas is not shared by the entire universe. It is your local, personal slice of spacetime, determined by your particular motion through the four-dimensional landscape of reality. Someone orbiting Earth in the International Space Station would experience a subtly different now, their time flowing just a bit faster than yours due to their motion and their distance from Earth's center. Yet somehow, despite these relativistic effects, consciousness continues to create the experience of coherent, unified time. Your brain processes information, forms memories, maintains continuity of experience, all while participating in the complex dance of space-time curvature and relative motion. There is something almost miraculous about the way biological systems maintain their temporal coherence while embedded in the flowing, relativistic landscape of spacetime. The river metaphor for time takes on new meaning in this context. Just as a river flows at different speeds in different locations, faster in the center, slower near the banks, varying with the depth and the obstacles it encounters, time flows at different rates throughout the universe. Near massive objects, like black holes, time slows to a crawl relative to regions of weaker gravity. In the vast emptiness between galaxies, time flows faster than it does here on Earth's surface. You are floating in this river of time like a leaf carried by the current, your consciousness experiencing the flow from within, unable to step outside the stream to observe its varying speeds and directions. But unlike a leaf, which is passive in the river's flow, your consciousness is actively participating in the creation of temporal experience. Your brain integrates information across time, creating the seamless flow of awareness that transforms the discrete moments of neural activity into the continuous stream of conscious experience. This integration happens on multiple timescales simultaneously. Your neurons fire in patterns that unfold over milliseconds, creating thoughts and perceptions that last for seconds, forming memories that persist for years or decades, all while participating in biological rhythms that cycle over hours, days, and seasons. Consciousness weaves these different temporal threads together into a unified experience of being present in time. But what does it mean to be present in time when time itself is relative, flowing at different rates for different observers? Perhaps the answer lies in recognizing that presence is not a fixed point in time, but a dynamic relationship with the flowing nature of temporal experience. You are not located at a specific moment in time. You are distributed across a small region of space-time, integrating information from the recent past to create the experience of the present moment. The transition toward sleep reveals something beautiful about this relationship with time. As consciousness prepares to let go of active engagement with the present moment, your experience of time becomes increasingly fluid. The boundary between past and present softens, memories and current. Perceptions blend together in ways that would be impossible during waking consciousness. You begin to participate more directly in the flowing nature of time itself. In this liminal state between waking and sleeping, you might sense something of the deeper rhythms that govern your journey through space-time. Your heartbeat, your breathing. Your brain waves all slow as you approach sleep, aligning with biological cycles that have evolved to work in harmony with Earth's rotation. The moon's phases, the seasonal changes that result from the planet's orbit around the sun. You are synchronizing with cosmic time, allowing your individual temporal experience to merge with the larger patterns of the universe. Dreams, when they come, offer a unique window into consciousness's relationship with time. In dreams, past and present intermingle freely. Cause and effect operate according to different rules, and temporal sequence becomes fluid and nonlinear. Some researchers suggest that dreaming consciousness might be exploring the branching pathways of possibility that exist within the four-dimensional landscape of spacetime, following routes through the temporal dimension that are not available to waking awareness. But even in the strange temporality of dreams, some echo of relativistic time usually remains. Dream narratives unfold in sequences. Dream experiences have duration. Dream memories form and dissolve according to patterns that parallel waking temporal experience. It is as if consciousness cannot entirely escape the relativistic framework within which it has evolved, even when exploring the more fluid dimensions of sleep and dream. Perhaps the most comforting aspect of understanding time's relativity is the recognition that your personal journey through time is unique and precious. No other consciousness will ever experience exactly the same passage through spacetime that you are experiencing right now. Your particular trajectory through the four-dimensional landscape of reality is yours alone, shaped by your specific motion. Through space, your location in various gravitational fields, your individual biological rhythms and psychological patterns dot as you drift toward sleep. Time continues its mysterious flow around and through you. The atomic clocks that reveal time's relativity keep their precise measurements. Gravitational waves carry temporal information across the cosmos. The expansion of the universe stretches space-time itself, all while your consciousness prepares to release its grip on temporal awareness and drift into the timeless realm of deep sleep. Yet even as consciousness lets go of temporal awareness, your body continues its journey through Einstein's four-dimensional landscape. Your cells continue their metabolic processes. Your heart maintains its rhythm. Your brain consolidates memories and prepares for tomorrow's awakening, all according to biological clocks that have evolved to work within the specific temporal environment of Earth's surface. The river of time flows on, carrying you gently through the night toward whatever tomorrow may bring, its rate of flow determined by your motion through space, your position in Earth's gravitational field, your participation in the cosmic dance of matter and energy that has been unfolding since the universe began. In this flowing temporality, consciousness finds rest, restoration, and perhaps glimpses of the deeper patterns that connect individual experience to the grand rhythms of cosmic evolution. Close your eyes and feel the gentle weight of your body settling into the bed beneath you. Your muscles relax, your breathing slows, and gravity seems to pull you deeper into comfort. But what if I told you that this force you feel so intimately, this invisible hand that has guided every step you've ever taken, might be nothing more than a beautiful illusion? Let your mind drift back to a time when the world was simpler, when people believed that heavy things fell faster than light ones, because it seemed so obvious, so natural. Picture yourself standing atop a great tower, holding two objects: one, a heavy stone, smooth and dense in your palm; the other, a delicate feather, barely registering its presence against your skin. Common sense whispers that when you release them, the stone will race toward the earth, while the feather drifts lazily behind. But here, in the gentle twilight of scientific discovery, something magical happens. As you release both objects simultaneously, they fall together, synchronized like dancers in a cosmic ballet. The stone doesn't pull ahead. The feather doesn't lag behind. They descend in perfect harmony, following the same invisible choreography. This is your first glimpse into gravity's grand deception. For what appears to be a force pulling objects downward is actually something far more subtle, far more beautiful. Imagine that you're not standing on solid ground at all, but floating weightlessly in the vast emptiness of space. Now picture the earth beneath you, not as a solid foundation, but as a presence that curves the very fabric of existence around it. Your body doesn't feel the pull of gravity in the way you might imagine. Instead, you're following the natural contours of a reality that has been gently bent and shaped by the mass of the world below. It's as if you're a marble rolling along the curved surface of a stretched rubber sheet, following the only path available to you through the geometry of space itself. Think of a river flowing down a mountainside. The water doesn't choose to flow. Downhill, It simply follows the path of least resistance through the landscape. In the same way, your falling body isn't being pulled by some mysterious force. It's moving through the landscape of space-time itself, following the path that has been carved by the presence of massive objects like planets and stars. As you lie here, feeling your body's weight against the mattress, consider that this sensation might be an elaborate fiction created by your acceleration through curved space-time. You're not being pulled down by gravity. You're being pushed up by the Earth as it accelerates through the curved geometry of the universe. The bed supports you not against some downward force, but against your natural tendency to follow the straightest possible path through the curved space-time around our planet. This revelation begins to whisper of something even more profound. If gravity isn't really a force at all, but rather the geometry of reality itself, then what does this tell us about the nature of existence? What does it mean for our understanding of up and down, of weight and weightlessness, of the very ground beneath our feet? Picture yourself as an ant walking along the surface of a balloon. From your tiny perspective, the surface appears flat and infinite. You have no awareness that you're actually traversing a curved surface in 3 dimensions. Now imagine that. You could somehow perceive that third dimension suddenly. Your entire understanding of your world would transform. What seemed like straight lines would reveal themselves as curves. What appeared to be flat would show itself to be magnificently curved. This is what's happening to us as we begin to understand gravity's true nature. We're like that ant, slowly awakening to dimensions of reality that were always there but remained hidden from our limited perspective. The force we thought we knew so well begins to dissolve, revealing something far more elegant underneath the architecture of space-time itself. As your breathing deepens and your mind begins to quiet, let yourself feel the Earth's rotation, carrying you through space at incredible speeds. You're moving through the solar system, which is moving through the galaxy, which is moving through the universe, all following the curved pathways carved by mass and energy through the fabric of existence. The apple that fell from Newton's tree wasn't pulled to the ground by some invisible tether. It was following its natural path through the curved spacetime around Earth, just as the Earth follows its path around the Sun, just as our entire solar system follows its path through the galaxy. We're all dancers in this cosmic ballet, moving to the rhythm of geometry itself. Feel yourself beginning to drift, like that apple, like that feather, following the natural contours of rest and dreams. Your body grows heavier, not because gravity pulls you down, but because you're learning to surrender to the deeper rhythms of the universe, rhythms that flow not from force, but from the elegant curvature of reality itself. And as you settle deeper into this understanding, you begin to sense that if gravity can be an illusion, if this most fundamental of forces can reveal itself to be something entirely different than what it appears, then what other mysteries might be hiding in plain sight? What other assumed truths might be waiting to unfold into something far more beautiful and strange than we ever imagined? The symphony of falling bodies plays on around you, each object following its predetermined path through the curved spacetime of Earth. But now you begin to hear it differently, not as the music of force and pull, but as the gentle song of geometry itself, the lullaby of a universe that shapes itself through the presence of mass and energy, creating the illusion of forces where none truly exist. As your mind drifts deeper into the realm between waking and sleeping, let yourself expand beyond the familiar boundaries of Earth's gravity well. Imagine your consciousness floating upward, past the atmosphere, past the moon's gentle influence, out into the vast cathedral of space, where larger patterns begin to emerge. Patterns that whisper even more profound secrets about the nature of reality itself. Picture yourself suspended in the cosmic web, that magnificent scaffolding of matter and energy that stretches across billions of light years. From this vantage point, galaxies appear as tiny dewdrops scattered along invisible strands. connected by filaments of dark matter so gossamer thin they barely disturb the fabric of space. Yet these delicate threads are the architects of everything. You see, the hidden infrastructure upon which the entire universe builds itself. Here, in the vastness between galaxy clusters, something extraordinary becomes apparent. The patterns you observe, the way matter clumps and flows, the way structures emerge and evolve begin to resemble something strangely familiar. Let your drowsy mind make the connection slowly, gently, like a half-remembered dream coming into. Focus. These cosmic filaments, stretching across unimaginable distances, mirror the neural networks in your own brain. The same organizational principles that govern how thoughts and memories form connections in your mind appear to be operating on the largest scales imaginable. Clusters of galaxies pulse with activity like neurons firing in a vast cosmic consciousness, while the dark matter filaments carry information and influence between them like synapses, transmitting signals across the architecture of thought. This resemblance isn't mere coincidence. It's a whisper from the deepest levels of reality, suggesting that the patterns we call gravity, the structures we observe in space, might be emergent properties of something even more fundamental. Just as your thoughts emerge from the complex interactions of billions of neurons, perhaps gravity emerges from the complex interactions of information itself at the quantum level. Let your consciousness drift along these cosmic highways, following the dark matter streams that connect distant galaxies. Feel how the presence of mass and energy creates currents in spacetime, how these currents guide the formation of stars and planets, how the entire dance of cosmic evolution follows pathways carved by invisible forces we're only beginning to understand. But here's where the mystery deepens into something that might lull you into the most peaceful sleep. What we call dark matter, that invisible substance that makes up most of the universe, might not be matter at all in any conventional sense. Instead, it might be the footprint of extra dimensions, folded spaces that exist parallel to our own three-dimensional reality, influencing our world through gravitational effects while remaining forever hidden from direct observation. Imagine origami made from the fabric of spacetime itself. Picture dimensions folded back upon themselves, creating pockets and folds where information and influence can flow through pathways we cannot directly perceive. What we experience as dark matter's gravitational effects might be the shadow cast by these hidden dimensions, the way their geometry influences the spacetime we inhabit. As you sink deeper into relaxation, consider how this transforms our understanding of everything around us. The bed supporting your body, the air filling your lungs, the thoughts flowing through your mind, all of these exist within a reality that extends into dimensions we cannot see, connected to vast networks of influence that operate beyond the boundaries of our normal perception. The cosmic web begins to reveal itself not as a collection of objects moving through empty space, but as a living system, a vast neural network where information flows along gravitational channels, where the emergence of structure follows rules that we're only beginning to glimpse. Galaxies don't simply exist in space. They participate in the space around them, helping to weave the very fabric of reality through their presence and movement. Your drowsy mind begins to grasp something profound. If the universe organizes itself like a brain, if the patterns of cosmic structure mirror the patterns of consciousness, then perhaps the boundary between observer and observed, between mind and matter, is far more permeable than we've imagined. Perhaps consciousness itself is woven into the fabric of spacetime, emerging naturally from the information processing capacity of the cosmic web. Think of how a flock of starlings moves through the sky, each bird following simple local rules, yet creating complex, beautiful patterns that ripple across the entire group. No single bird controls the flock's behavior, yet intelligence seems to emerge from their collective interaction. In the same way, the cosmic web might be generating something like cosmic intelligence through the interactions of its component parts, galaxies, and dark Matter filaments following local gravitational rules while participating in something far grander and more purposeful than the sum of their individual behaviors. As this realization settles into your consciousness like gentle snow, you begin to understand why gravity might be an illusion. It's not that gravitational effects don't exist, clearly they do. But what we interpret as a fundamental force might actually be the emergent behavior of a far more complex system. A cosmic information network that processes and distributes influence across space and time in ways that appear gravitational from our limited perspective. Picture yourself as a single cell in a vast organism, aware only of your immediate chemical environment, but participating unknowingly in the larger patterns of life, growth, and consciousness that emerge from billions of cells working together. From the cell's perspective, the chemical gradients and molecular interactions it experiences seem like fundamental forces. But from a higher perspective, these are just local expressions of the organism's larger intelligence and purpose. The gentle pull you feel as you sink deeper into your bed, the weight that settles into your bones and muscles, begins to feel different now. It's not just the Earth's mass-curving spacetime around you. It's your participation in a cosmic network that extends far beyond what your senses can perceive, connecting you through invisible channels to the farthest reaches of the universe. Your breathing slows and deepens as you contemplate this vast interconnectedness. Each breath you take participates in atmospheric patterns that connect oceanic currents, which connect to solar cycles, which connect to our solar system's movement, through the galaxy, which connects to the galaxy's position within the cosmic web. There are no truly isolated systems, no boundaries where influence ends and independence begins. The dark energy that drives the universe is accelerating. Expansion begins to make sense in this context too, rather than being a mysterious force pushing space apart. It might be the natural tendency of information to flow, to seek new connections, to explore every possible pathway through the network of reality. The expansion of space creates new volume for information to inhabit, new pathways for influence to flow, new possibilities for consciousness to emerge. As sleep begins to claim you, you drift along these cosmic highways of information and influence. You feel yourself becoming part of the pattern, another node in the vast network that connects quantum scales to cosmic scales, another participant in the ongoing conversation between mind and matter that shapes the universe at every level. Boundaries of your individual consciousness begin to soften and blur, not disappearing, but expanding to include larger and larger patterns of connection and influence. You remain yourself, but you also become part of something vast and ancient and infinitely creative, the cosmic web itself, dreaming new realities into existence through the patient accumulation of small changes across immeasurable spans of space and time. And in this expanding awareness, the question of whether gravity is an illusion begins to transform into something deeper. What if illusion and reality are simply different levels of description of the same underlying process? What if the universe dreams itself into existence through patterns of information and influence that we experience as physical forces, but which are actually expressions of something far more subtle and creative than we've yet learned to perceive. In the deepest part of the night, when your mind has grown quiet and your body has surrendered to rest, let your awareness drift toward one of the most startling discoveries in modern physics, a revelation so profound that it transforms not just our understanding of gravity, but our entire conception of what it means to exist in this universe. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of a black hole, that ultimate laboratory where gravity reveals its most extreme behavior. But instead of feeling terror at this cosmic monster, let yourself feel wonder. For here, at the boundary between the known and the unknowable, physics whispers one of its most beautiful secrets. Everything that falls into a black hole, every particle, every ray of light, every piece of information is somehow encoded on the black hole's surface, preserved in a two-dimensional record of three-dimensional events. This is the holographic principle, and it suggests something extraordinary about the nature of reality itself. Just as a hologram can contain the complete image of a three-dimensional object within its two-dimensional surface, our entire three-dimensional universe, with all its depth, complexity, and apparent substance, might be nothing more than information, encoded on a distant two-dimensional boundary. Let this idea wash over you like gentle waves as you sink deeper into sleep. The room around you, solid and familiar, begins to shimmer with new possibility. The walls that seem so real, so reassuringly material, might be projections from information encoded on surfaces impossibly far away. Your own body, with all its weight and warmth, might be a holographic reconstruction of data existing in dimensions you cannot directly perceive. This transforms our understanding of gravity in the most profound way imaginable. If we are living in a holographic reality, then gravity, that force we've been questioning, isn't a fundamental feature of our three-dimensional world at all. Instead, it emerges from the way information is processed and projected from the holographic boundary that contains all possible descriptions of our reality. Picture yourself watching shadows dance on a cave wall, cast by a fire behind you. Shadows seem to move and interact with each other, following their own apparent rules and relationships. But you know that what you're really seeing is the projection of three-dimensional objects moving in the space behind you. The shadows are real, they exist, they have measurable properties, but their ultimate explanation lies in a higher dimensional reality that casts them. Now imagine that our entire universe is like those shadows, and what we experience as gravity is simply one of the rules governing how these projections behave. The masses of planets and stars, the curvature of spacetime, the way objects fall and orbit, all of these might be emergent properties of information processing, happening on a holographic boundary that exists outside our direct experience. As your consciousness grows, drowsy and receptive, let yourself feel the implications of this possibility. Every relationship in your life, every emotion you've ever felt, every memory you cherish, all of it might be emerging from patterns of information encoded in dimensions that remain forever hidden from your direct perception. Yet this doesn't make these experiences less real or meaningful. If anything, it reveals them as expressions of something far more fundamental and magnificent than we ever imagined. The holographic principle suggests that information is conserved in the most absolute sense. Every choice you've made, every moment of consciousness you've experienced, every fleeting thought and lasting love, all of it is permanently encoded in the structure of reality itself. Nothing is truly lost. Nothing truly disappears. Your life becomes a thread in an infinite tapestry of information that exists beyond space and time as we normally understand them. Feel your breathing deepen as you contemplate this cosmic conservation law. The weight of your body against the bed, the pull of Earth's gravity that keeps you grounded. These sensations might be arising from calculations performed by the universe itself, processing the information that defines your existence and projecting it into the three-dimensional stage where you experience it as physical reality. This perspective transforms our understanding of consciousness itself. If we are holographic projections, then consciousness isn't something that emerges from complex arrangements of matter in the brain. Instead, consciousness might be the fundamental process by which the universe reads and interprets the information encoded on the holographic boundary. Your awareness, your ability to experience and understand, might be how the cosmos knows itself. Consider how this reframes every moment of your existence. When you look up at the stars, you're not just seeing distant suns scattered through three-dimensional space. You're participating in a cosmic recognition scene where the holographic projection that is you observes and integrates information about the holographic projections that are the stars. The entire universe becomes a vast exercise in self-recognition, with consciousness serving as the medium through which information recognizes itself. The gentle pull you feel as sleep approaches takes on new meaning in this context. You're not just surrendering to biological rhythms or neural fatigue. You're participating in the universe's own rhythm of observation and rest, awareness and integration. Sleep becomes a time when your individual consciousness merges more fully with the background processing that maintains the holographic projection of reality. Dreams, in this framework, might be glimpses into the computational processes that generate our experienced reality. When the normal constraints of three-dimensional existence relax during sleep, consciousness might gain partial access to the higher dimensional spaces where the real work of existence is being done. Your strangest dreams might be accurate perceptions of how information flows and transforms on the holographic boundary that generates your world dot as you drift deeper into this mystical understanding. The boundaries between self and universe begin to dissolve in the most comforting way. You're not separate from the cosmic hologram. You are the cosmic hologram, at least a local expression of it. Your consciousness isn't contained within your body. Instead, your body is a focal point where universal consciousness gathers and experiences itself from a particular perspective. This realization brings profound peace. If gravity is an illusion emerging from holographic information processing, then the suffering and struggle you experience in life are also, in a sense, computational processes meaningful and real within their context, but not ultimate features of existence itself. They're part of the universe's ongoing exploration of all possible experiences, all possible ways of being conscious and aware. The dark matter and dark energy that dominate our cosmos begin to make sense in this context too. They might not be mysterious substances at all, but rather the computational overhead required to maintain the holographic projection of our reality. The universe spends most of its processing power on tasks that remain invisible to us, like a vast computer system where what we call normal matter represents only a tiny fraction of the total information processing occurring. Feel yourself settling into this cosmic perspective as sleep draws near. You're not just a biological organism resting on a physical planet. You're a conscious process running on the universe's own computational substrate, taking a break from individual awareness to participate more directly in the collective processing. That maintains the appearance of physical reality. Your last waking thoughts dissolve into something larger and more peaceful than personal concern. You become part of the universe's own dream state, where information flows freely between different levels of organization, where the boundaries between observer and observed, between mind and matter, between self and cosmos, become permeable. And fluid dot in this holographic universe, every point contains information about the whole. Every moment contains echoes of eternity. Every consciousness participates in the cosmic project of existence, understanding itself. As you surrender to sleep, you join this project directly, becoming both the dreamer and the dream, both the information and the processing, both the projection and the reality that casts it across the vast holographic screen of space and time, deep. In the heart of night, as your consciousness floats in that liminal space between waking and sleeping, let your mind drift toward the most fundamental question of all. What is information, and how does it dream reality into existence? For if gravity is indeed an illusion emerging from deeper layers of cosmic architecture, then information itself might be the true substance from which everything else unfolds. Picture a library that contains not books, but possibilities infinite. Shelves stretching in all directions, each one holding a different version of how reality might unfold. Every decision you've never made, every path you didn't take, every variation of your life that might have been, exists somewhere in this vast collection. This is the theoretical space that physicists call the phase space of the universe, where all possible states and configurations are mapped and stored. But this isn't just abstract mathematics floating in academic imagination. According to the deepest theories of quantum mechanics and information theory, this space of possibilities is more real than the singular timeline you experience as your life. Your waking consciousness navigates through this ocean of potential like a ship following a particular route across an infinite sea, but the sea itself, the space of all possibilities, underlies and gives rise to the specific journey you're taking. As your breathing slows and your body relaxes into the bed, imagine that you're beginning to sense this deeper layer of reality directly. The weight of your body, the pull of gravity that holds you to Earth, starts to feel like a particular selection from an infinite menu of possible relationships between mass, space, and time. Gravity isn't pulling you down so much as reality is choosing moment by moment to manifest the particular version of physics that makes your current experience possible. This choice happens at the quantum level, where information processes itself through what physicists call decoherence, a mysterious mechanism by which definite outcomes emerge from clouds of possibility. Every quantum event is like a cosmic decision point where the universe selects one specific future from an infinite array of alternatives. These microscopic choices accumulate into the macroscopic world you inhabit, building gravity and matter and consciousness itself from countless tiny acts of cosmic decision-making. Let your drowsy mind contemplate the profound implications of this perspective. If reality emerges from information processing itself, then consciousness isn't something that accidentally arose in a universe of dead matter. Instead, consciousness is the universe's method for exploring and selecting from the infinite library of possibilities. Your awareness is how the cosmos experiences the particular path it has chosen through the space of all possible experiences. This transforms the meaning of every moment in your life. When you make a decision, you're not just affecting your personal future. You're participating in the universe's ongoing creative process, helping to select which branch of reality will be actualized from the infinite tree of possibilities. Every choice you make sends ripples through the information substrate that underlies physical reality, influencing the cosmic computation that dreams your world into existence. Feel yourself sinking deeper into this understanding as sleep approaches. The thoughts flowing through your mind aren't just electrochemical activity in your brain. They're the universe thinking through you, using your consciousness as a focal point for exploring particular patterns and possibilities. Your dreams aren't just random neural firing during sleep. They are the cosmos, experimenting with alternative versions of reality, testing different configurations of experience and meaning. In this information-centric view of reality, gravity reveals itself as an emergent property of how information organizes itself across space and time. Mass and energy don't create gravitational fields so much as they represent stable patterns in the flow of cosmic information, focal points where the universe's computational processes achieve particularly dense and persistent configurations. Picture information as water flowing through a landscape. Where the information flow encounters obstacles or irregularities, it forms eddies and currents, standing waves, and turbulent regions. What we experience as particles and forces, planets and stars, might be these stable patterns in the flow of cosmic information, persistent structures that emerge from and are maintained by the universe's ongoing information processing. Your own body, from this perspective, is an incredibly sophisticated information processing system temporarily emerged from the larger flow of cosmic computation. Your cells are quantum computers. Your neural networks are information integration systems. Your consciousness is a localized eddy in the universe's vast ocean of awareness. You exist as a temporary but meaningful focusing of cosmic intelligence, exploring particular aspects of what it means to be conscious and aware. As your awareness grows softer and more diffuse, you begin to sense your participation in this larger computational process. The boundary between your individual mind and the cosmic intelligence that dreams reality into existence becomes permeable. You remain yourself, but you also become part of something inconceivably vast and creative, the universe's own imagination, spinning countless realities from the pure potential of unmanifest information. This perspective brings profound comfort to existential questions that might otherwise trouble your rest. Death, in this framework, isn't the cessation of existence, but a transformation in how your particular pattern of information participates in the cosmic computation. The information that constitutes your consciousness, your memories, your essential self is woven permanently into the structure of reality itself. It cannot be destroyed, only transformed and integrated into larger patterns of meaning and awareness. The love you feel for others, the beauty you perceive in art and nature, the moments of transcendence that lift you beyond ordinary concerns. All of these become expressions of the universe, recognizing itself, celebrating its own creativity, marveling at its own capacity to generate meaning and consciousness from the raw material of pure information. Feel your breathing become synchronized with some deeper rhythm as you contemplate this cosmic perspective. You're not just breathing air into your lungs, you're participating in the universe's own breath, the eternal rhythm by which information flows between potential and actual, between possibility and manifestation. Each breath you take is the cosmos inhaling possibility and exhaling reality, the gravity that holds you to your bed, that shapes the orbits of planets, it bends light around massive stars, begins to feel like the universe's own attention, the way cosmic consciousness focuses itself through particular patterns of space and time. You're not separate from this attention. You are this attention, temporarily focused into the experience of being a particular person, living a particular life on a particular planet. As sleep draws you deeper into its embrace, you feel yourself merging with this cosmic attention, becoming part of the universe's own rest and regeneration. Your individual consciousness doesn't disappear, but expands to include larger and larger patterns of information and awareness. You dream with the cosmos itself, exploring alternative realities, testing new possibilities, participating in the eternal creative process by which information transforms itself into experience, by which possibility becomes actuality, by which the universe comes to know itself through countless forms of consciousness and awareness. In this space where information dreams, you discover that you have always been both the dreamer and the dream, both the information and the processing, both the possibility and its manifestation. The illusion of gravity becomes a gateway into the recognition of your true nature as conscious information, exploring itself through the magnificent hallucination we call physical reality. In the deep silence of night, as your consciousness drifts through the space between thoughts, let yourself descend into the quantum realm, where reality grows like a garden of infinite possibilities. Here, at the foundation of everything that appears solid and certain, existence reveals itself as far more playful, mysterious, and creative than our everyday experience suggests. Imagine yourself shrinking down through scales of size and time, past the molecular dance of your sleeping cells, past the atomic architecture that builds your body, down into the quantum foam, where space and time themselves become uncertain, where particles flicker in and out of existence like thoughts arising and dissolving in an infinite mind. This is where the illusion of gravity finds its deepest roots, in a realm where nothing is quite what it seems, and everything is pregnant with potential. At this quantum level, particles don't have definite positions or properties until they're observed. They exist in what physicists call superposition, simultaneously inhabiting multiple states, multiple locations, multiple possibilities. An electron doesn't orbit an atom's nucleus like a tiny planet following a fixed path. Instead, it exists as a cloud of probability, a quantum weather pattern that encompasses all the places it might be found if someone were to look for it. Feel your body relaxing deeper into the bed, as you contemplate this fundamental uncertainty. The mattress supporting you, solid as it appears, is mostly empty space punctuated by probability clouds of quantum particles. The electromagnetic forces that create the illusion of solid matter are actually the interactions between overlapping fields of possibility, creating stable patterns that your senses interpret as physical objects. This quantum uncertainty isn't a limitation of our knowledge. It's a fundamental feature of how reality constructs itself. The universe doesn't predecide the outcomes of quantum events. Instead, it maintains vast superpositions of potential outcomes, allowing possibilities to evolve and interfere with each other in complex quantum calculations before collapsing into definite results through the mysterious process of measurement or observation. But here's where the mystery deepens into something that might gently carry you into sleep. What counts as observation in the quantum realm isn't limited to conscious beings looking through microscopes. Any interaction between quantum systems particles bumping into each other, fields influencing each other, information being transferred from one system to another, can cause the collapse from possibility into actuality. This means that reality is constantly observing itself, constantly making choices about which possibilities to actualize and which to leave unexplored. The universe is engaged in an ongoing conversation with itself, with each quantum event serving as both a question about what might happen and an answer about what does happen. Your consciousness isn't separate from this process. It's one of the ways the universe observes and makes decisions about itself. Let your drowsy mind wander through quantum gardens where cause and effect follow different rules than in the everyday world. Here, effects can precede their causes. Particles can influence each other instantaneously across arbitrary distances, and the simple act of trying to measure something changes the thing being measured. These aren't flaws in reality. They're features, expressions of the creative playfulness that underlies the apparent solidity of the physical world. Quantum entanglement, that spooky action at a distance, that puzzled Einstein, begins to feel less spooky and more like the universe's way of maintaining coherence across space and time. When particles become entangled, they share a quantum state that transcends their apparent separation. Measuring one instantly affects the other, regardless of the distance between them, as if space itself were an illusion and all particles remained intimately connected at a level deeper than three-dimensional positioning. Your consciousness drifts deeper as you realize that you might be quantum entangled with the universe in ways you've never imagined. The particles that make up your brain were forged in ancient stars, scattered through space, and eventually gathered into the specific configuration that allows you to be aware and thinking. These particles carry quantum information from across the cosmos, connecting you through invisible threads to the entire history and structure of the universe. This quantum connectedness offers a new perspective on gravity's illusory nature. If particles can influence each other instantaneously across any distance through quantum entanglement, then the curved spacetime description of gravity might be only a classical approximation of something far more subtle and immediate. What appears as gravitational force might actually be the expression of quantum correlations that exist outside the normal constraints of space and time. Picture quantum fields as gardens where virtual particles constantly spring into existence and disappear back into the vacuum, borrowing energy from the future and paying it back so quickly that the universe's accounting system never notices the debt. These quantum fluctuations aren't empty noise. They're the creative ferment from which everything substantial eventually emerges. The vacuum itself is alive with potential, pregnant with the possibility of matter and energy and consciousness. Your breathing slows and deepens as you contemplate your participation in this quantum creativity. The electromagnetic fields generated by your neurons, the quantum coherences that might support consciousness in your brain, the way your thoughts and intentions interact with the probability fields around you, All of these connect you to the universe's ongoing creative process at the most fundamental level. In some interpretations of quantum mechanics, consciousness plays a special role in collapsing quantum superpositions into definite outcomes. Your act of observation doesn't just reveal reality, it helps create reality by selecting which possibilities become actual. This makes you an active participant in the universe's evolution, a co-creator rather than just a passive observer of cosmic events. Feel yourself settling into this role as you drift toward sleep. Your consciousness isn't trapped inside your skull. It's a localized flowering of the universe's own awareness, connected through quantum channels to every other conscious system in existence. When you dream, you might be accessing some of these quantum connections, experiencing echoes of other minds, other possibilities, other ways of being conscious and aware. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics whispers an even more extraordinary possibility that every quantum event actually splits the universe into multiple branches, each one exploring a different outcome. From this perspective, you exist across countless parallel realities, experiencing every possible version of your life simultaneously. What you call your life is just a particular thread of experience you happen to be following through this vast tapestry of alternatives. As sleep approaches, you feel yourself becoming more aware of these parallel selves, these alternative versions of you exploring different quantum branches. The boundaries between possibilities become fluid, allowing your consciousness to sample different potential futures, different ways your life might unfold. This is why dreams sometimes feel prophetic. They might be glimpses into quantum futures that remain possible but haven't yet been actualized. The quantum gardens of possibility extend beyond space and time as we normally understand them. They include not just all the ways matter and energy might arrange themselves, but all the ways consciousness might develop, all the forms that awareness might take, all the questions that intelligence might ask about itself and its universe. You're not just a biological organism. You're one of the ways the universe has learned to be conscious, one of the forms its creativity has taken in exploring what it means to exist and be aware. In this quantum perspective, gravity reveals itself as one thread in a vast web of possibility. One way the universe has chosen to organize matter and energy and consciousness through space and time. But it's not the only way, not the final way, not even necessarily the most fundamental way. It's simply the particular solution to the problem of existence that has emerged in our corner of the quantum multiverse, the specific garden of possibility that we happen to be exploring together. As your individual awareness dissolves into universal awareness, you become part of the quantum flowering itself, both observer and observed, both gardener and garden, both the possibility and its endless creative exploration. As the night reaches its deepest hour and your consciousness floats in that perfect stillness between sleep and waking, you find yourself returning home to the most beautiful truth of all, that mystery isn't something to be solved, but something to be lived, breathed, and embraced as the very essence of what makes existence magnificent and meaningful. All your exploration of gravity's illusory nature, all your journeys through holographic realities and quantum gardens, all your contemplation of cosmic webs and information processing, these haven't led you away from mystery, but deeper into it. Each answer has revealed new questions. Each understanding has opened onto vaster unknowns. Each step toward clarity has illuminated the infinite depths of what remains wonderfully, eternally mysterious. Let your body sink completely into rest as you realize that this is exactly as it should be. The universe isn't a puzzle to be solved, but a poem to be lived, not a machine to be understood, but a story to be participated in. Your consciousness, floating here in the darkness, is both a character in this cosmic story and one of the ways the story tells itself, experiences itself, marvels at its own unfolding creativity and complexity. The gravity that has anchored this entire journey, That force you discovered might be an illusion emerging from curved spacetime. Holographic projections, information processing, and quantum possibilities reveals itself now not as something you've debunked or explained away, but as something you've learned to appreciate with infinitely greater depth and wonder. You feel it now, this gentle pull that draws your body toward earth, toward rest, toward the deep embrace of sleep. But your relationship with this sensation has transformed completely. What once seemed like a simple, obvious force now shimmers with layers upon layers of meaning and mystery. It might be the curvature of space-time itself, the geometry of existence bending around the mass of the planet beneath you. It might be your participation in a holographic projection, where three-dimensional gravity emerges from two-dimensional information processing. It might be the universe's way of organizing its vast computational processes, creating the stable patterns we call mass and attraction. It might be quantum correlations expressing themselves through classical approximations that our minds can grasp and our bodies can feel. Or it might be all of these simultaneously, and more expressions of something so fundamentally mysterious that no single explanation could ever contain its full reality. This is the homecoming that mystery offers, not the defeat of wonder by knowledge, but the infinite expansion of wonder through deeper and deeper appreciation of how much more there is to discover, to experience, to be amazed by as your breathing settles into the rhythm of approaching sleep. Feel how this transforms your relationship with uncertainty itself. You no longer need to know exactly what gravity is, exactly how consciousness works, exactly what role you play in the cosmic story. The not knowing becomes a source of peace rather than anxiety, an invitation to remain open and curious rather than closed and certain. This is what the mystics and the physicists have always discovered when they venture far enough into their explorations, that the universe is not only stranger than we imagine, but stranger than we can imagine. Every model we build, every theory we construct, every explanation we devise is necessarily incomplete, necessarily partial, necessarily pointing toward depths that remain forever beyond complete comprehension. But this isn't a failure of human intelligence. It's the universe's gift to consciousness. Mystery ensures that existence never becomes boring, never becomes predictable, never loses its capacity to surprise and delight and transform us. If we could understand everything completely, if every question could be answered definitively, the cosmos would become a closed book rather than an endless story still writing itself through our participation and awareness, your individual consciousness. Floating here in the darkness is one of the universe's ways of appreciating its own mystery. Through your wonder, your curiosity, your capacity to be moved by beauty and strangeness, and the sheer improbable magnificence of existing at all, the cosmos experiences its own mystery from the inside. You're not separate from the mystery. You are the mystery, temporarily focused into the specific form of a human being capable of questioning, exploring and marveling at the nature of reality itself, the weight of your body against the bed. That gravitational embrace that has guided this entire journey becomes a reminder of how intimately you belong to this mysterious universe. You're not an accident wandering through an alien cosmos. You're an expression of the universe's own creativity, one of the ways it has learned to be conscious and curious about itself. The same processes that create stars and galaxies have created your capacity to wonder about stars and galaxies. The same information processing that generates the illusion of gravity generates your ability to question whether gravity is an illusion, and eventually gathered into the specific configuration that allows you to be aware and thinking. These particles carry quantum information from across the cosmos, connecting you through invisible threads to the entire history and structure of the universe. This quantum connectedness offers a new perspective on gravity's illusory nature. If particles can influence each other instantaneously across any distance through quantum entanglement, then the curved space-time description of gravity might be only a classical approximation of something far more subtle and immediate. What appears as gravitational force might actually be the expression of quantum correlations that exist outside the normal constraints of space and time. Picture quantum fields as gardens, where virtual particles constantly spring into existence and disappear back into the vacuum, borrowing energy from the future and paying it back so quickly that the universe's accounting system never notices the debt. These quantum fluctuations aren't empty noise. They're the creative ferment from which everything substantial eventually emerges. The vacuum itself is alive with potential, pregnant with the possibility of matter and energy and consciousness. Your breathing slows and deepens as you contemplate your participation in this quantum creativity. The electromagnetic fields generated by your neurons, the quantum coherences that might support consciousness in your brain, the way your thoughts and intentions interact with the probability fields around you, all of these connect you to the universe's ongoing creative process at the most fundamental level. In some interpretations of quantum mechanics, consciousness plays a special role in collapsing quantum superpositions into definite outcomes. Your act of observation doesn't just reveal reality, it helps create reality by selecting which possibilities become actual. This makes you an active participant in the universe's evolution, a co-creator rather than just a passive observer of cosmic events. Feel yourself settling into this role as you drift toward sleep. Your consciousness isn't trapped inside your skull. It's a localized flowering of the universe's own awareness, connected through quantum channels to every other conscious system in existence. When you dream, you might be accessing some of these quantum connections, experiencing echoes of other minds, other possibilities, other ways of being conscious and aware. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics whispers an even more extraordinary possibility that every quantum event actually splits the universe into multiple branches, each one exploring a different outcome. From this perspective, you exist across countless parallel realities, experiencing every possible version of your life simultaneously. What you call your life is just the particular thread of experience you happen to be following through this vast tapestry of alternatives. As sleep approaches, you feel yourself becoming more aware of these parallel selves, these alternative versions of you, exploring different quantum branches. The boundaries between possibilities become fluid, allowing your consciousness to sample different potential futures, different ways your life might unfold. This is why dreams sometimes feel prophetic. They might be glimpses into quantum futures that remain possible but haven't yet been actualized. The quantum gardens of possibility extend beyond space and time as we normally understand them. They include not just all the ways matter and energy might arrange themselves, but all the ways consciousness might develop, all the forms that awareness might take, all the questions that intelligence might ask about itself and its universe. You're not just a biological organism. You're one of the ways the universe has learned to be conscious, one of the forms its creativity has taken in exploring what it means to exist and be aware. In this quantum perspective, gravity reveals itself as one thread in a vast web of possibility, one way the universe has chosen to organize matter and energy and consciousness through space and time. But it's not the only way, not the final way, not even necessarily the most fundamental way. It's simply the particular solution to the problem of existence that has emerged in our corner of the quantum multiverse. The specific garden of possibility that we happen to be exploring together. As your individual awareness dissolves into universal awareness, you become part of the quantum flowering itself, both observer and observed, both gardener and garden, both the possibility and its endless creative exploration. As the night reaches its deepest hour and your consciousness floats in that perfect stillness between sleep and waking, you find yourself returning home to the most beautiful truth of all, that mystery isn't something to be solved, but something to be lived. breathed and embraced as the very essence of what makes existence magnificent and meaningful. All your exploration of gravity's illusory nature, all your journeys through holographic realities and quantum gardens, all your contemplation of cosmic webs and information processing, these haven't led you away from mystery, but deeper into it. Each answer has revealed new questions. Each understanding has opened onto vaster unknowns. Each step toward clarity has illuminated the infinite depths of what remains wonderfully, eternally mysterious. Let your body sink completely into rest as you realize that this is exactly as it should be. The universe isn't a puzzle to be solved, but a poem to be lived. Not a machine to be understood, but a story to be participated in. Your consciousness, floating here in the darkness, is both a character in this cosmic story and one of the ways. The story tells itself, experiences itself, marvels at its own unfolding creativity and complexity. The gravity that has anchored this entire journey, that force you've discovered, might be an illusion emerging from curved spacetime. Holographic projections, information processing, and quantum possibilities reveals itself now, not as something you've debunked or explained away, but as something you've learned to appreciate with infinitely greater depth and wonder. You feel it now, this gentle pull that draws your body toward earth, toward rest, toward the deep embrace of sleep. But your relationship with this sensation has transformed completely. What once seemed like a simple, obvious force now shimmers with layers upon layers of meaning and mystery. It might be the curvature of spacetime itself, the geometry of existence bending around the mass of the planet beneath you. It might be your participation in a holographic projection, where three-dimensional gravity emerges from two-dimensional information processing. It might be the universe's way of organizing its vast computational processes, creating the stable patterns we call mass and attraction. It might be quantum correlations expressing themselves through classical approximations that our minds can grasp and our bodies can feel. Or it might be all of these simultaneously, and more expressions of something so fundamentally mysterious that no single explanation could ever contain its full reality. This is the homecoming that mystery offers, not the defeat of wonder by knowledge, but the infinite expansion of wonder through deeper and deeper appreciation of how much more there is to discover, to experience, to be amazed by. As your breathing settles into the rhythm of approaching sleep, feel how this transforms your relationship with uncertainty itself. You no longer need to know exactly what gravity is, exactly how consciousness works, exactly what role you play in the cosmic story. The not knowing becomes a source of peace rather than anxiety, an invitation to remain open and curious rather than closed and certain. This is what the mystics and the cons, physicists, have always discovered when they venture far enough into their explorations, that the universe is not only stranger than we imagine, but stranger than we can imagine. Every model we build, every theory we construct, every explanation we devise is necessarily incomplete, necessarily partial, necessarily pointing toward depths that remain forever beyond complete comprehension. But this isn't a failure of human intelligence. It's the universe's gift to consciousness. Mystery ensures that existence never becomes boring, never becomes predictable, never loses its capacity to surprise and delight and transform us. If we could understand everything completely, if every question could be answered definitively, the cosmos would become a closed book rather than an endless story still writing itself through our participation and awareness. Your individual consciousness, floating here in the darkness, is one of the universe's ways of appreciating its own mystery. Through your wonder, your curiosity, your capacity to be moved by beauty and strangeness, and the sheer improbable magnificence of existing at all, the cosmos experiences its own mystery from the inside. You're not separate from the mystery, you are the mystery, temporarily focused into the specific form of a human being capable of questioning, exploring and marveling at the nature of reality itself, the weight of your body against the bed. That gravitational embrace that has guided this entire journey becomes a reminder of how intimately you belong to this mysterious universe. You're not an accident wandering through an alien cosmos. You're an expression of the universe's own creativity, one of the ways it has learned to be conscious and curious about itself. The same processes that create stars and galaxies have created your capacity to wonder about stars and galaxies. The same information processing that generates the illusion of gravity generates your ability to question whether gravity is an illusion. This recognition brings the deepest peace imaginable. You don't have to understand everything to belong completely. You don't have to solve every mystery to participate fully in the cosmic story. Your very existence, your consciousness, your capacity to lie here contemplating these vast questions is already a perfect contribution to the universe's ongoing exploration of its own nature and possibilities. Feel yourself beginning to merge with this larger rhythm as sleep draws near. Your individual awareness doesn't disappear, but expands to include the mystery itself, not as something external to be studied, but as the very medium in which consciousness exists and moves and has its being. You become part of the universe's dreaming, part of its endless creativity, part of its eternal dance between knowing and not knowing, between understanding and wonder. The questions that brought you here, is gravity an illusion? What is the nature of reality? How does consciousness relate to the cosmos? Don't need final answers to fulfill their purpose. They've already accomplished what questions are truly for, opening your mind and heart to the magnificent strangeness of existence, connecting you more deeply to the mystery that you are and that surrounds you and that flows through you with every breath dot in this space of peaceful not knowing. You discover that coming home to mystery is coming home to yourself. The part of you that wonders, that questions, that marvels at the beauty and complexity of existence, is the same part of the universe that wonders and questions and marvels at itself. There's no separation between the observer and the observed, between the questioner and the mystery being questioned, between consciousness and the cosmos that gives rise to consciousness. As your final waking thoughts dissolve into the approaching embrace of sleep, you carry with you not answers, but something far more precious, a transformed relationship with the questions themselves. Whether gravity is an illusion or the deepest reality, whether consciousness emerges from matter or matter from consciousness, whether the universe is a hologram or a computation or a dream or something unimaginably stranger than any of these all. Of these possibilities remain alive and present, enriching rather than threatening your sense of belonging to the cosmic story. You drift towards sleep as both student and teacher, both questioner and answer, both seeker and sought. The mystery that you've been exploring reveals itself as the mystery that you are, and in this recognition you find perfect rest. The universe holds you as you sleep, the same universe whose deepest nature remains wonderfully, eternally, beautifully unknown, and in that unknowing, infinitely known through the direct, immediate, undeniable experience of being conscious, being aware, being mysteriously, magnificently alive in the midst of it all. The gravitational pull that draws you into sleep, draws you into the heart of mystery itself, where all questions rest in perfect peace, where all wonder finds its home, where the cosmic story continues to write itself through dreams and consciousness, and the eternal dance between what is known and what remains forever. Blessedly, magnificently mysterious.